Hey, peace. Been a long time. 720 Health. Welcome. Willing to die, right? So I know you see the title. You got to be willing to die, right? And I say that because not that you have to actually die. It's just like the story of Jesus in the Bible. He was a willing sacrifice, but he wasn't actually sacrificed, right? He wasn't actually on the cross. That's another discussion. I know some people are like, "What? What you mean?" But that's really a different discussion. But the thing is that he was willing. It's like 50 Cent, right? 50 Cent says, "Get rich or die trying," right? Not that he wants to die, but it's really talking about the energy that you put into something that you're willing to like put your life on the line for that thing that you want to achieve. Now, a lot of people, when I say this to them, they'll be like, no, they're not willing to die for nothing that you believe in. You know, they always have a negative response when I say that. But people are willing to die for a lot of stuff. Like every day, I meet people every day, I watch people every day that's willing to die for a whole bunch of unnecessary things that's not going to really move you forward. You know, the thing that people are not willing to die for, and again, not that you have to die, right? When I say die for, that you're willing to die for, it's like to put your all into and hey, this is the thing I gotta do. My life depends on it. Have you ever worked towards a goal and you feel like your life depends on it, and it might just be writing a children's book, but you feel I gotta get this children's book done, and even if it's the last thing I do before I leave this planet, I gotta get this children's book done. And then when you've done it, then you move on to other things that you want to accomplish. So people are willing to die for drugs. You know, people willing to die for drugs. They might not say they're willing to die for drugs, but the actions show that they're willing to die for drugs. Some people are willing to die for sex. Now we all know that, like, you know, you can go out there, you can do unprotected sex, and you could, you know, I mean, HIV is now something that's treatable, right, in a sense, but still people, even at the height of it, people are still out there, men and women, willing to, and not that they even consciously realize they're willing to die for it, right? Food. People are willing to die for food. So people eat a certain type of food, right? People eat the pig. I know some of you are pig lovers, and you're gonna be like, "What? There's nothing wrong with a pig. My father ate pigs, and pig is no good," right? Again, another discussion. Fast food. So you're really willing to die for your taste buds, for that pleasure you get in eating that fast food that is detrimental to your health. You're willing to die for that. So, you know, a lot of stuff, you can just, you know, people smoke, take drugs. They're willing to die for these things. But it was never put to you that way, so you don't look at it like that. But one thing a lot of people are not really ready to die for, or even in a sense kill for, right? Because, you know, is liberation or freedom. They're not willing to die for that, stand up for that, kill for that. And again, I'm not sending anybody out there to kill. Listen to what I'm saying. It's just like a military. When somebody goes into the military and they go to war and they say, "Hey, you're being deployed and you have to go over to this country because we're gonna bang on these dudes out there in the deserts," right? You're going with the idea, knowing that you might not come back, but your intentions is to come back. But you're going knowing there's a possibility that you might not come back because you have to uphold this so-called freedom we got here, right? So somebody is willing to die or kill. Well, kill first, right? Die second in the US military so that you have freedom. In the British military, so you have freedom. In the Nigerian military, so you have freedom, right? You get the point what I'm saying. So there's these individuals that are willing to do that, right? But you yourself, right? I've watched, you know, especially in this last 2 years, how you know, a lot of people, when they're just not willing to stand for their own liberation or freedom or their own rights. They'd rather not. They'd rather not. And this is a thing I say all the time. I say there's really no good people, right? And people always be like, what do you mean there's, like, I say there's no good people, because when good has a chance to show good, good is quiet. If you look, right, and you look at the amount of crime that may happen in a city or in a neighborhood, right? But let's take a city, right? Let's take a city like New York, right? Now let's not take a city like New York. Let's just take a borough, any borough, one of the boroughs, right? And there's elements of crime. But the elements of crime and the criminals are actually minute compared to the law-abiding citizens. But the law-abiding citizens are afraid. Where the criminal is bold and is not afraid, you know. So the law-abiding citizens are more like sheep. So, you know, and the criminals are more like the dog, you know, they're the lions, right? And they know like the one lion can chase and corner, you know, 50 sheep, can corner them, you know. So, what are you willing to die for? Again, I'm not saying that you gotta die, because I know people are gonna misinterpret it and say, "Oh, you're saying you should be suicidal." I like living. You know, I like living. I want to live, you know, at least to 100, and I want to be conscious when I'm on my way out. I like to be like, "Oh, I'm leaving." I like to be looking at my grandchildren and my children and be like, and smiling, and probably have some music playing, and just be like, "Peace, y'all. See y'all on the other side." And that would be an, you know, ideal way for me to go out. You know, because death is promised. It's promised. And I think we spend too much time afraid of losing our lives. Again, I'm not saying go and do reckless things to do and lose your life. Although you are doing a lot of reckless things, and a lot of the recklessness comes is what we intake and put into our bodies. A lot of it comes from that, right? Because what was the leading death thing that caused death in America? And I believe it was cardiac arrest, right? A heart attack. So the heart attack is what it's coming from. Was it high cholesterol? It's coming from food, right? It's what you're eating. So we're doing a lot of suicidal things, and that gets me back to even thinking about suicide. It's a suicide, but bye-bye. Suicide, it's a suicide. But suicide, right, is, you know, like when religious people talk about suicide, they'll be like, oh, suicide is a sin because you killed yourself. So, and supposedly, right, so say suicide is a sin and you go to hell's fire, right? Does the person who's eating Mickey D's on that slow suicide, do they go there as well? The person that was smoking cigarettes, that's showing their life, do they go there as well? Just one is instant, and one is gradual. If I was a murderer, right, and I shot someone, stabbed somebody, and took their life, you say murderer. But I could still be a murderer and just slowly poison you over some years. I can poison you over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years span, just poisoning you. Am I a murderer? Yeah, he's a murderer. Are there individuals doing that over time, slowly poisoning us and cutting down our life expectancy? But that whole thing with willing to die for what you believe in, I believe like the universe, the creator within, the universe will back you if you're willing and you break that barrier of death, of having that fear for death, meaning this is what it's going to be. You know, a lot of men and women that stand up and make changes in this world because they were brave enough, they had the courage, they wasn't conforming. We benefited from their actions. But even during those people's time, those men and women's time, the people in their time just saw them as troublemakers and like, shut up, like you're gonna make the man mad and stuff like that. So, yeah, are you ready to die so you act that way? Are you ready to die for what you believe in? Are you ready to kill for what you believe in? Or are you just willing to just sit down and be quiet for what you believe in and say nothing and do nothing? Peace.